The Ribblehead Viaduct or Batty Moss Viaduct carries the Settle Carlisle Railway across Batty Moss in the valley of the River Ribble at Ribblehead in North Yorkshire. The viaduct, built by the Midland Railway, is 28 miles northwest of Skipton and 26 miles southeast of Kendal. It is a Grade 2 listed structure. The viaduct was designed by engineer John Sidney Crossley. The first stone was laid on the 12th of October, 1870 and the last in 1874. 1,000 navvies built the viaduct and established shanty towns on the moors for themselves and their families. They named the towns after victories in the Crimea War, well-to-do districts of London and biblical names. There were many smallpox epidemics and deaths from industrial accidents. Around 100 navvies were killed during its construction. And there are around 200 burials of men, women, and children in the graveyard at Chapel Ladale dating from the time of its construction. The church has a memorial to the railway workers. The line over the bridge was opened to goods traffic on the 3rd of August, 1875. But passenger trains did not commence running until the 1st of May, 1876. The viaduct is 440 yards long, and 104 feet above the valley floor at its highest point. It is made up of 24 arches of 45 feet span, with foundations 25 feet deep. Every sixth pier is 50% thicker to mitigate against complete collapse should any pier fail. The north end of the viaduct is 13 feet higher in elevation than the south end, leading to a gradient of 1 inch 100. 1.5 million bricks were used in the construction, and some of the limestone blocks weigh as much as 8 tons each. Work on the line started in 1869. The first stone was laid on the longest viaduct, across Batty Moor, now Ribblehead, in October 1870. At the peak of activity, some 2,000 men worked on this viaduct, and hundreds died during the 4 years it took to complete the engineering marvel. Hundreds. This was a construction, as was the whole line, built almost entirely by men without the assistance of machinery. Imagine the scene. Wooden scaffolding surrounding the growing columns, intertwined with ladders, hundreds of men climbing like ants over structures, pulleys slung at all points, men dragging on ropes, buckets swinging, stones being faced, cement being mixed in vast quantities, the deafening hubbub of men shouting, hammers on stone and orders being barked. The vast majority of the deaths occurred on the Ribblehead Viaduct over a 4-year period. I haven't found out exactly how many died, but hundreds would mean a minimum of 200 deaths over 4 years, 50 a year, or 1 per week. My guess is that the actual figure was much higher. Compare this with the building of, say, the famous Golden Gate Bridge in California, which was built over 4 years from 1933 to 1937, when only 11 workers died. The Settle Carlisle line is one of 3 north-south main lines, along with the West Coast Main Line through Penrith and the East Coast Main Line via Newcastle. British Rail attempted to close the line in the 80s, citing the reason that the viaduct was unsafe and would be expensive to repair. A partial solution was to single the line across the viaduct in 1985, preventing 2 trains from crossing simultaneously. A 30 miles per hour speed limit is also in force. The closure proposals generated tremendous protest and were eventually retracted. The viaduct, along with the rest of the line, was repaired and maintained, and there are no longer any plans to close it. Two taller viaducts can be found on the route: Smardale Viaduct at 131 feet near to Crosby Garrett, and Ardengill at 117 feet. In 2016 the line and viaduct carries 7 passenger trains from Leeds to Carlisle per day in each direction, plus periodic long-distance excursions, many hauled by steam locomotives. Regular diesel-hauled heavy freight trains also use the route to help reduce congestion on the West Coast Main Line. Colas Rail operate a timber train most Friday afternoons which passes over the viaduct when it departs its yard opposite Ribblehead railway station. The combination of the rarely seen timber train and the British Rail Class 56 locomotives used to pull the train has built quite an enthusiastic following. Another regular traffic flow to use it is the limestone aggregate train from Arcow Quarry sidings near Horton in Ribblesdale, which runs to various stone terminals in the Leeds and Manchester areas on different days. This train has to reverse in the goods loop at Bleemore Signal Box, north of the viaduct, because the connection from the quarry sidings to the main line faces north. The Ribblehead Viaduct is probably the most famous of the many feats of Victorian engineering along the stunning Settle to Carlisle railway line. Its iconic location in the middle of the Three Peaks makes it a popular photo stop. There are a number of laybys, a tea wagon and the popular station inn. Of course the easiest way of getting there is on the train, as there is a station at Ribblehead itself. The route uses the natural contours and north-south lie of the Ribble and Eden valleys to link these river valleys, and to maintain a fast line speed with a gradient no steeper than 1 in 100. The line cuts through the Pennine landscape in a series of dramatic tunnels, cuttings and bridges. Its magnificent structures include the awe-inspiring Ribblehead Viaduct and infamous Bleemore Tunnel. The steady 10-mile pull from Settle Junction up to Bleemore, the long drag to its generations of engineermen, passes between the Three Peaks of Penwygent, Ingleborough and Whernside. This is followed by skirting above Dentdale and Upper Wensleydale to the line's summit at AIS Gill. At a height of 1,169 feet it is the highest point on a main line in England. And is overshadowed by the evocatively named Wild Boar Fell. Next the line picks up the infant River Eden in the Malastang Valley, dropping for 10 miles at 1 in 100 down from the mountain country to a lush pastoral landscape, passing through the market towns of Kirkby Stephen and Appleby. It follows the Eden onwards all the way to Carlisle, where on the edge of the city it joins the line from Newcastle, and enters the maze of lines leading to Citadel Station.